Hello everyone, how are you? Okay, so tonight I want to talk about how to count odd meters, or how to make your meters more interesting. Now this is something I picked up from London, but it's something I've encountered before. You may be familiar with it, you may not be. Now when I learnt it, it was predominantly to do with like more fusiony type music, or like world music. Because the actual counting system itself is sort of Indian in origin. But if you're into like progressive music, if you're into like your djent and math rock and that type of thing, I think you'll get a lot out of this. So so I want to start with some basics first of all. It's like a clapping clapping system that's been developed. Now, first of all, what we're not gonna do, we're not doing round of applause. We're not doing round of applause clapping, because that's not musical. It's closer to like the flamenco clap, which is like like if you just curve the palm of your hand, whichever your hands you're dominant with, and then just like with the fingers, just go like that. Yeah. Now that's the basic flamenco clap, right? But what we're going to do is we go like this. You see, that way, 1, 2, 1. So you can stress which of those two beats you actually want the emphasis to be on. If you want the stronger beat to be on the 1, then it's palm facing down, so you're slapping with your hand that way. And if you want so you say like beat 2 to be less dominant, then it's like that. It also helps so you don't get confused with the counting as well. 2, 1, 2. Now, I mean, you can work it with a metronome, but it's going to start getting more complicated. And even the thing is that, like, when a lot of world music actually does get going, say like with someone like the Afro-Cuban stuff and the like the sambas and like the Brazilian, etc., etc., and a lot of the Indian stuff as well. If you like your Bhangra, then sometimes the metronome it can be a bit more of a hindrance than it is actually. Like, it helps you develop like a natural rhythm for yourself. Like I say, it is a very useful tool if your timekeeping is sloppy. It's very useful for that, and I think I'm going to come back to that in a different video. But we get back to these claps. So we're going so 1, 2. Now, instead of just going 1, 2, 1, 2, we're just going to go ta ka ta ka ta ka ta ka ta ka. Okay. Now that's not that complicated. But you may also find sometimes, I mean, this is something I picked up from like when I used to play in the orchestras. Like at the start, you'll get your lead sheet, and then the conductor or the musical director, often the same person, they would be giving you directions to say, oh, like in this part I'm in crotchets, in this part I'm in quavers, and that might seem a bit baffling. Well, so I can actually extend. So like for each of those beats, I can divide that. So I can go taka 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 taka. Yes, like that. Taka 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 taka. Which is equally as valid as going taka taka taka. You see how we got the divisions coming? Taka 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 taka. Now that's just basic like variations on 2 and 4. When you start getting a bit more complicated, because one of the tutors down in London was arguing that you can basically like you can build like the building block. I mean, yes, you can do it just with like just simple tar. You can build anything with just one. Okay, that's like the unit, but say like with a 2, 3 and a 5, if you know how to add up 2, 3 and 5, then you should be able to get any combination that you like, and then put them in any combination that you like, and then overlay them, and then you got all kinds of interesting polyrhythms going on. So for a 2 it was taka, 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 taka. Now for a 3 we go takita, 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 takita. Now you may have heard like takata, takata, you may have heard that, but just if you just humour me while I'm going through this. If we stick with the more Indian, the takita, 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 takita. I mean, it's a very large Indian population in Leicester, so there's no shortage of people to discuss this with around here. Of course, because everybody discusses Indian music all the time, don't they? So anyway, I'm digressing. But yes, so we could just moving on to like for a 5. You could go taka, takita, taka, takita, taka, but that's not the same as a 5. So we have another for a block of 5. Then what we right? Okay, sorry, I'm jumping the gun. I've got the 4, didn't I? So for a 4, you go takadima, 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 like that. And then so you go in. So say like we could already there for like a 6, we could go taka, taka, takadima, taka, takadima, taka, takadima, takadima, taka, takadima, taka, taka. You see how that helps you put these different stresses in there, and so you can get all kinds of variations on that, or even just like put the takadima, taka, takadima, taka, takadima, taka, takadima, taka. Yeah. So you see how you could change the order. So now to actually get to the 5, then it's not just takadima, it's takadima ju, and it's not like as in Jewish, it's more like Ju. So it's takadima ju, 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 like that. So if you get a 7, you go taka, takadima ju, taka, takadima ju, taka, takadima. Or we could go takita, takadima, takita, takadima, takita, takadima, takita, takadima, takita, takadima. Yes, you see what I mean? So that's so that's basically like that's rhythms for 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So say like somebody hands you a pattern which has got like a basic 8, you know, like like say like a basic 4/8 or something like that. And what I was thinking was, I know this isn't perhaps quite how Aldemir played it, but they had that opening to Sweet Golden Dawn. If you actually, I mean, I'm not sure this is the correct key either. Yeah. So what we're doing there? Takita, takita, takadima ju. Takita. Takita, takadima ju. Takita. That's the 3 again. That's the 5. And then you can just like play that pattern as a warm-up. Or even just play those 5s. No, if we were just playing the 5s, it'd be. If you're not getting the finger in, it's kind of. Or even just. Yeah. So it's a much more percussive way of playing, and when you start counting like this as well, I mean, you start doing it naturally, and you can break more complex figures down. You know, say like you get an 11. I mean, like, well, we're guitarists, you know, we know all about number 11, don't we? So, so like you could play like a Takita, Takadima, Takita, Takadima, Takita, Takadima. That's 10, isn't it? Takita, Takadima, Ju, Takita, Takadima, Ju, Takita, Takadima, Ju, Takita. Or Takita, 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 Takadima, Ju, Takita, Takita, Takadima, Ju. Like, yeah, and so on. And then if you go in like higher than 11, if you can count higher than 11, then it works as well. And you know, and then we start getting in. I think, remember a drummer, and he was talking about how he can basically, like, a lot of like world music patterns end up being just variations of like 12/8. That's now starting to get a bit more involved. So I think I'm going to leave it at that point, and I just want to do something a bit different tonight. I mean, you know, I know this is perhaps you know, it is a bit different than the stuff I've talked about before, but timekeeping and rhythm and feel, they're so important, and nobody really talks about it that much. You know, like, you know, this. I mean, they might talk about technique versus feel, but unless you actually have got some way of like practicing a feel, you know, practicing like natural rhythm, you know, and if it hasn't actually got that sense of groove and feel, and like that you can actually explain about the weightings of the notes that you're playing, then what are we doing, you know? So yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to ramble on too long. Have you got something out of this? Please comment below. You got any suggestions? Put them below as well. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.